What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Snug Wrestling. My name is Edgar. I'm the host. Today, we're going to be going over Friday Night SmackDown. This week's episode of SmackDown was unbelievable. See what I did there? Yeah, I mean, we had all kinds of shit go down on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. We had the women snatching their wigs off, quite literally. We found out what the big stipulation is going to be for the big title match next week. A lot of matches were set up for next week. More King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring stuff. So much stuff to go over. This episode of SmackDown was packed, but I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a while, man. This whole thing with the World Cup, a lot has been happening. Danhausen apparently is the reason why the Knicks won the NBA Finals. So much shit has happened just in this week. The last time that we met, which was what, Monday, Tuesday, or something like that. But how's everyone feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. We're getting closer and closer to Night of Champions and everything else. You know, I'm excited about that. This month's already half over. I feel like we're kind of already blowing through summer. Wrestling's pretty good. We're just a few weeks out from SmackDown going back to 2 hours, which means we're going to get only an hour of actual wrestling because you know that one of those hours is going to get absorbed by ads. That being said, SmackDown was pretty decent. We had some pretty good story and progression happen with the world title scene, which I'm excited to get into. It also kind of makes you wonder what the future holds. You know, there's rumors that CM Punk, I did a blood drop episode on that live on our Snug Wrestling TikTok channel, Instagram, and my The Blood Drop TikTok channel. Reports are coming in that CM Punk is returning to WWE here in just a couple of weeks, but it will be as a part of the SmackDown roster, which means we're getting a follow-up from that April 20th edition of Raw that followed WrestleMania 42 Night 2, where he face-to-face with Cody in a promo in the ring. So we're looking at a potential CM Punk in our future. We have to also think about all the returns, you know, on the horizon, the people that are also involved on SmackDown, which means I think SmackDown is about to become probably even more interesting than Raw, surprisingly, because you have the likes of Randy Orton on Raw, Cody Rhodes on Raw, CM Punk on Raw, Damian on Raw, Drew on Raw. Now we've got this great stuff with Sami and Cody happening. Gunther is there. So it feels like they're finally starting to even out the roster here. It only took them a year and a half with no draft either this spring or last spring. And I think we're on the correct road to the fall, but summer is definitely ramping up. And got to tell you, this makes me really excited about SummerSlam, but also Survivor Series War Games, because at this present juncture, it's really hard to decide who the hell is going to be in that cage.
That just sounds insane to me. CM Punk on SmackDown, I feel like he's more raw coded, if anything. But other than that, I'm doing good. I had some family issues go down, which have all been resolved and in the great way. But I'm really excited to talk about SmackDown. It's been a while since I've been on the podcast because, like I said, family issues. But I'm happy to be back.
Feeling good, feeling good. Overall, the show itself, as we've already stated, was pretty decent. Of course, it had its ups, had its downs, but that's going to be SmackDown for you. SmackDown, just like with NXT, has its chaotic moments. Boy, does it. But I am really, really interested to see how in the world things will progress into other things like War Games and SummerSlam, with that being said.
Yeah, and also Night of Champions and all that good stuff. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to hear that CM Punk would be heading over to SmackDown. Now, was that made official? Was that announced, or is that just a rumor that's going around right now?
So there's some slight corroboration from it. It's coming from WrestleVotes, who do have a very reliable track record when it comes to wrestling news. This isn't like Dave Meltzer and his bullshit imaginary friends that work in the company. This is WrestleVotes that does news reporting. You know, they're not a dirt sheet. They are, you know, a somewhat reputable wrestling news outlet. They do actually have journalists that have been in on these post PLE scrums when WWE was still doing them. So I'm inclined to believe it, but it also makes sense. If you're going to have CM Punk go in the ring with Cody after Mania, you wouldn't do that if there weren't plans for it upon a return post hiatus. But also, you have to think, what else is there for him to do on Raw? He has been a Raw superstar since he came back almost 3 years ago. So, it's about time he hops brands and does something new. He really has gone up against Roman, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre, a whole year worth of feud on Raw the year before last year. At a point, you need to shuffle the deck a bit. And SmackDown has always been treated as the B show for WWE. So to move one of your top stars over there to help bolster the star power with a Cody Rhodes and a Gunther and a Drew McIntyre and a Randy Orton, I think that's important because I think they're going to take the Bloodline stuff and center focal that as Raw, and Roman and CM Punk already did their shtick. So why not move Punk over to something fresh like versing Cody?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. The last time we saw CM Punk, they did that major tease. I believe it was on, was it? I can't remember if it was Raw or SmackDown, but basically
it was Raw after Mania, the April 20th edition.
Yeah, so basically they left it at anytime, any place, basically is what Cody told CM Punk in that promo segment that they had, which, left a lot of us excited waiting to see, when is that gonna happen, so because first they were saying that there was rumors going around that CM Punk was unhappy, that they asked him to take a pay cut, and that CM Punk was looking into legal action to get out of his WWE contract, which later on turned out to be total bullshit, right?
Yeah, it was absolute bullshit. I covered that in another Blood Drop episode as well. Again, you guys can follow the Snug Wrestling and the Blood Drop channels on TikTok, as well as anything posted to my TikToks. Go to my specific Instagram, Blood Rush, and follow us over on Facebook and Instagram as well at Snug Wrestling. But for all your wrestling news and content. But yes, I did a deep dive in on this. It was debunked. The rumors themselves were sparked from some random guy who's a big WWE fan who seems to have gotten a lot of predictions right in comments in the past. And so people took what he said and ran with it as, oh, this must be gospel. And it turned out that there's no corroboration. There's no second source. There's no actual person that works backstage that can corroborate this. No one who works there says this is true. So it's been debunked, but people are very inclined to believe negative news about Punk because he's such a divisive character, such a divisive figure in pro wrestling that people are always looking for the next thing to just hop on a bandwagon with the I hate Punk train. And this was one of those things where people just kind of went, oh, it must be true because it's Punk, instead of doing their own research.
Yeah, I saw Sean Ross Sapp. He debunked it too. But I mean, I think a lot of people like the stuff that he does, the work that he does, but I watched a small clip of him talking about the situation with CM Punk, and he was like, I talked to someone in the WWE, the person that I know who's really close to creative or what, I don't know what the fuck he was saying. He's saying that it's not true, that CM Punk is just fine. But I'm like, who are these people who, I know he can't say who it is, but it also kind of feels like bullshit when you have people like Sean Ross Sapp saying, I spoke to someone within the WWE and they told me, but it kind of feels like bullshit when you don't mention names. I know you can't say who they are, but it's also like, that kind of seems like shitty reporting in my opinion. But
I mean, it's frustrating to be a fan because we're on the outside looking in. But the thing is, Sean Ross Sapp is not the type of guy to do dirt sheet bullshit reporting. That's just not who he's very credible. If he says something, 80% of it's true, if not 100%. And of course, he can't reveal his source. And it's not just because he can't reveal it, but it's because the stipulation probably of him getting that information to report it as news is probably stipulated on the fact that he must, in fact, not mention who the hell it came from. And here's the other thing, too. I have friends that work in WWE. A friend of mine, or I should say a closer friend to an acquaintance, but a friend that I have known for many years, Antonio Gibbons, works at NXT. He works in WWE. And I've met him at a convention, years ago, but he was a photographer, then like a stagehand and everything else for NXT. And now he's moved himself up the ranks of the NXT and even gotten recognition. I guarantee you, if I were to ask him something, he wouldn't be able to tell me because he's just not allowed to. So it's just, we kind of have to wait and see. But the reports are, before we move on, of course, to the show, the reason everybody's here, thank you guys again for tuning in with us, is that it's supposed to be on or before the Monday Night Raw edition of July 6th. Punk is scheduled to return to SmackDown. So we should be excited about that with bated breath here in the next about 3 weeks.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening lately this week, and we didn't do our usual, one-on-one on TikTok Live because I got a little bit too crazy because of the World Cup, and I was out and about and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, maybe we can catch up on some of these topics next Thursday. But just really quick, before we get into the show, there's something else that I want to bring up. Tommy, we were talking a little bit on air before we went live. We were talking about the whole Danhausen and the Knicks thing, Okay, so I haven't really been following the NBA finals because I can care less because my team got eliminated a long time ago. But I saw that the Knicks became champions and everyone was posting Danhausen. Give us a quick rundown of how Danhausen got so fucking popular and involved in the fucking NBA finals.
So it started off with a little bit of a face-off between him and Stephen A. Smith on the ESPN show where they went through and they talked NBA because, of course, they did. And at first, Danhausen did curse the Knicks because this was at a point where the curse was like massive. It was right after he did it with Miz and Kit Wilson. Mm-hmm. So he curses them. At some point, he uncurses them. And then within their semifinal run, which is like 4 games with that, you have to win 4 to win that. They end up they sweep. They go 4-0 for it, right after getting uncursed by Danhausen, which is why there was this entire segment on SmackDown where I believe it wasn't the Garzas.
Yes, it was the Garzas, and then it was Matt Cardona.
Yes, it was the Garzas who walked up trying to get the Spurs to be uncursed. And then it was Matt Cardona who said, hey, don't curse the Knicks. I'm a New York guy myself. Keep the curse on the Spurs, which is why people are saying, hey, the entire reason why they won the NBA Finals is because Danhausen did, in fact, keep the Knicks uncursed.
It's real. It's alive. See, I told you, Blood, but you don't want to believe, Blood. You don't want to believe in the curse of Danhausen. All right, well, WWE is back in the States. They were in Providence, Rhode Island, and boy, you can tell they're definitely back in the States because the crowd was not as hot as those European crowds. And the big question was, what is going to be Gunther's big stipulation? So that was teased at the beginning of the show. We don't know yet, but we're going to find out. Gunther's going to make everybody wait. And then we go to the announce table. Good old Corey Graves and Joe Tess, I believe. No, Wade Barrett and Joe Tess. Sorry. The announcers. They also made a really unfortunate announcement saying that Rhea Ripley has a knee injury and they're still quote unquote validating the knee, which means they don't have like a ETA. They don't know what's happening yet. It's to be determined. What do we know about Rhea Ripley's injury so far?
As far as I'm aware, I don't really know anything past. I haven't looked into it enough to know. I can tell you this: if they thought it was serious enough, we'd probably already be looking at a strip the title sort of segment on Friday, because I'm not sure how she picked it up. I don't know if she picked it up during training. I don't know if she picked it up on the previous SmackDown.
Clash in Italy.
She picked it up at Clash in Italy. Well, Clash in Italy was what now? Fucking how long ago was that? 8 days? 9
It
days?
was a couple of weeks ago, but then the SmackDown after Clash in Italy, she was seen limping, wearing a knee brace, but no one really. They thought maybe, oh, she's just beat up, but she'll recover. But I guess it's more serious than they thought.
Interesting, because I know that on the SmackDown after Clash, she had that in-ring segment. Everybody wanted to, come for the title and everything. She seemed somewhat fine, but I did notice she didn't get physical in that set in that at all. It resulted in I believe it was what a 2-on-2 tag match or maybe a 6-man tag, 6-woman tag or whatever. But she didn't get involved at all. No physicality, nothing. So I'm hoping it's not too serious. I hate to think that Rhea's injury prone. I mean, she's had what was it, the shoulder thing with Liv a couple of years ago, then the nose that got broken. Now we're talking about a potential knee injury. Thing is, she's the most over woman in the entire WWE's women's roster. You could say that she's one of the most over acts in the company, easily top 6. I'm not sure what this is, but I think we can all hope that it's nothing serious. We've got Night of Champions literally around the corner. And then following that, we've got, another Saturday night's main event and a SummerSlam. So if you ask me, they should give her a break. I mean, we can let fucking Jade go 100 days without a defense, but Rhea just has to defend it all. Nah, put Liv's ass on a PLE defending her fucking title for goddamn once, and then give Rhea the night off, and then let Rhea get to maybe SummerSlam or even I'd say Saturday night's main event without a defense. I feel like fans love Rhea enough that unlike Jade, they would be willing to accept her not defending for a couple of months because she's hurt. No one wanted Jade to be champion. That's why fans were just not gung-ho about giving her any kind of leeway after 100 days with no defense. Notice how people are going after Liv for it too. People love Liv. She ain't injured. Defend the fucking title.
Do you guys have any updates when it comes to the Rhea thing? Do you guys know anything?
No, I know absolutely nothing other than what was said on SmackDown that she had the knee injury.
Nothing yet? Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they can do the same thing that Chelsea Green did. Chelsea Green was in a goddamn wheelchair, but she was still showing up on TV tapings, cutting promos, doing backstage segments. I don't see why they wouldn't do that with Rhea,
I'm absolutely positive that Rhea is a consummate professional. She understands the importance of holding that championship. She understands the importance of being the face of a division. She's been doing it for a couple of years now, and she is wholly reliable. Like this is Rhea we're talking about. People will talk about the look and the tats and the goth this, and she doesn't strike me as like what a champion. Like that woman is probably as serious about her craft and as just respecting of what that business and her position affords her, that I'm sure that knee injury or no knee injury, if she's only got to travel once a week, I'm sure she'll make it to as many shows as possible, and make appearances. I don't see them taking the title off her. There's no one else worth putting the title on. I love Charlotte. That's my GOAT, but Charlotte doesn't need another title run right now. No one wants to see it go back to Jade. Julia's not ready for it. Lash is not ready for it. We don't need to see Nia hold it. Alexa, maybe that'd be interesting. But even then, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes down to it, when you look at Rhea, she's built like a goddamn Greek god. When I look at her, I go, nah, give her as much patience as possible. We don't need to rush her into putting that title out. Why don't we build up some of these female stars who are credible enough to take it off of her?
All right. Well, speaking of female stars, Charlotte, Jade, Lyra, and Soul were in the other Queen of the Ring. This was one of the other opening matches because this was a fatal 4-way. Jade is the former Queen of the Ring winner, and she was looking to become a 2-time Queen of the Ring champion. And because it's a fatal 4-way, this is a no DQ match, which means B-Fab and Michin were getting involved, and Alexa Bliss came out. We got a huge pop. Then Tiffany came out, and this match was one of the most talked about matches that came out of this episode of Friday Night SmackDown because Oh man, there was a funny moment. Well, funny for some of us, maybe not so much for Jade Cargill, where Charlotte Flair accidentally pulled on Jade Cargill's wig a little bit too hard in the corner spot, which led to essentially Jade Cargill having to finish the rest of the match with one hand because she was trying to hold her wig down on her head with one hand, and with the other hand, she continued wrestling, doing the moves. She finished the match, but I thought that was really a funny, awkward moment there. And then who won this match? It was actually Charlotte Flair pulled off the win here. Charlotte Flair made Lyra tap, and Charlotte Flair is advancing, and she's going to be facing Liv in the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, first and foremost, that's a match I really do want to see. Out of all of the women in this match, Charlotte's the strongest. She makes the most sense. When you're talking about ramping up the stakes for the semifinals going into the finals, you want someone who is like, we're talking about when it comes to the women's division, even generationally, people will say, oh, well, Sensational Sherry, Molly Holly, they'll say, Trish Stratus. They'll say, the Bellas or a Michelle McCool or an Alexa or an AJ Lee. There are measuring sticks in these divisions for generations. None of them touch the accolades and the showcase ability in big matches the way Charlotte Flair does. Say what you will about Charlotte, however you feel about Charlotte, she does back it up, and Charlotte is that damn fucking good. And if you need any reminder, the last time her and Rhea had a Mania match, go back and watch it and tell me that Charlotte does not make everybody a fucking star. And that's what you want out of big stars, someone who elevates everybody that's with them in those matches. And here Charlotte elevated everybody because of just being herself. Being in a match with her is a big deal for your fucking career. I don't care if it's a 1-on-1, a 2-on-2, a 3-on-3, or a fatal 4-way. Having Charlotte in there, you are being looked at by the people in the back as someone that they believe is worth wasting Charlotte's time for, or Charlotte spending time on. Despite the hair mess, I'm not going to sit here and make fun of Jade Cargill. Look, I'm not a big fan of Jade Cargill. I'm not going to mock her. I'm not going to pick on her. She's obviously, the internet's already doing enough to her about this incident. She's also not the first female professional wrestler to have a malfunction with wardrobe. And yes, it being a wig counts as wardrobe. It happens. It's unfortunate. You just keep doing what you can do and you move on. People don't realize this, but the entire time Sasha Banks was on the main roster for WWE, that was a wig. Every time. She's a full-blown fucking brunette, and she wore a wig every night she wrestled. And sometimes you could see her real roots popping out. It just happens. But again, as professionals, they got through the match. And I think the right person won, because I don't think have we seen Liv Morgan versus Charlotte Flair at any given point in the last handful of years? I can't even remember if they've ever had a one-on-one match. So for me, this is exciting. This is great. Liv nowadays versus Charlotte now, give it to me. I'm excited.
They have twice.
Okay.
That's news to me. I don't remember the last time they've had a match. But anyways, I thought the match was great and probably my favorite for the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. I don't think any of the other matches compare. If one comes close second, it's probably the first match of the first round. So this is like miles ahead of all the other matches. But I think Charlotte advancing made the most sense because, Jade just does not need to be in this spot again. Lyra, they're obviously not going to pull the trigger on. And then Soulish champion, so it makes sense for Charlotte to win. However, I would have liked to see Lyra go over because her and Bayley have just been eating shit every opportunity they get. And it would have just been nice to see either of them advance in their match. But I think Charlotte made the most sense. It looked great. And despite all the wig stuff, Jade did what she did. She got through the match and doesn't need to be picked on because of it. I already saw someone do it in a comment section on a video she posted on TikTok. So screw you if that was you.
Yeah, Jade did the best she could. But this is what I find interesting. And this isn't really spoiling much for the main event either. Here's the problem with WWE right now. I've noticed that within both Final Fours, there's only one singular person from SmackDown. That person is Charlotte motherfucking Flair. That's it. None of the Final Four for the men's are from SmackDown, and 3 out of the 4 for the women are from Raw. So, find that very interesting. But the match itself had quite a bit of fun with it, just watching it. Charlotte Flair did, in fact, make the most sense to win. You can't really call yourself the queen if you can't even get past round 1, honestly, which I find a little bit funny there. But still, Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan for the 3rd time in their collective careers. They haven't had a one-on-one in a hot minute, but they have gone one-on-one twice in their careers thus far. So I'm going to find that very, very interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, and the other match that for the semifinals for the Queen of the Ring was so it was Io versus Raquel is the other one on the other side. But okay, the whole thing with the wig kind of it kind of bugged me a little bit because like I try to compare a lot of situations like with real sports because some of us still try to see pro wrestling like as an actual real sport, right? And I want to hear what you guys think about this because I've seen things like this happen in other sports, right? Like you see people, in soccer, for example, where they lose a shoe, but they keep playing. They fuck the shoe. They keep having because there's urgency. Like what's important here is getting the ball and scoring. Same thing with basketball. Someone fucking again loses a shoe. There's like wardrobes malfunction. Someone's jersey gets ripped. They don't care about the jersey or the shoe. They just keep at it. And I would have liked to seen that happen. I felt like that was a missed opportunity for Jade Cargill to make a moment out of that because she has done that before. Like when it comes to when she got busted open in the steel steps, right? What did she do? She fucking looked right in the camera. She was looking all crazy. Yeah, this whole wig thing, I thought it would have been perfect. What I would have liked to seen is her just be like, fuck this wig. I don't think she can rip it off because part of it was still attached to her head. But it would have been a great moment if she just said, man, fuck this. And she just shook it off instead of being all like, oh no, my wig. And then wrestling with one hand, That's what I would have liked to see. And I'm like, oh, she would have gone over if she just, who gives a fuck? I'm trying to win this match. You guys get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I also have to look at it from a talent perspective. There's a difference, right? When you split your eyebrow open and you're bleeding, it adds to the match. It adds to the visceral nature of the sport that you're participating in, the act, the physical nature of the violence, the action. The fans rally with that, right? Because there's a ravenous human nature that makes you go, oh, fuck, yeah, this is getting good. It's different when you have a wardrobe malfunction, especially when you're a woman and you have a wardrobe malfunction. We've seen it where they've had to somewhat stop matches with like Lyra in it. If you remember, Lyra had a match like last year where she spent half the match trying to hold her bra up because the entire bra strap came off and it was going to reveal her chest.
Well, that's different. That's understandable. No, Obviously, if your boobs pop out, I don't expect you to be like, "Oh, look at my boobs,"
Yeah, but I'm getting to my point. But what I'm saying is that with a woman, my mom used to tell me this, that if there's one thing a woman cares about having control over, it's her hair. Because if they can't control anything else in the world, they can control their hair. So when it comes down to it, when your hair comes off like that, you got to remember, Jade isn't thinking about it from, oh my God, I got to finish the match. She's probably thinking, oh my fucking God, no one's going to talk about the match. They're going to be so distracted by my hair coming off that it's going to take away from the match, because it's the only thing everybody at home on the TV can see is this fucking glaring thing. Like, wait, what the fuck? She wears a wig? Or, oh my God, her hair's coming off. It becomes a rubber chicken. It becomes a beach ball in the audience. It becomes a distraction. And she probably, one, didn't want to look like a fool. And two, she didn't want to take away from the in-ring action. So she was trying to mask it as best she could and draw the fans' attention away from it. Maybe a little counterproductive, but you can't, but I understand her trying. But also, those wigs, they don't just glue to your hair easy. That's like spirit gum. You got to solvent those things off your skin. She can't just shake it off. If she rips that bitch off her head, it's going to take skin with it. So,
yeah,
it also becomes a hazard for her too. If it gets caught in anything, someone else catches it, it's going to hurt. So I understand it's a rock and a hard place. Also, we got to remember, Jade is still new at wrestling. She's like 4.5, 5 years in, maybe 5 full 6 years in. That's still green for a lot of people. And for her, she's maybe not at the level like a Charlotte would be to where she would find a better way to react in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, it turned out to be what everyone was talking about in that match anyway, no matter how she handled it,
Unfortunately. And the thing is, it sucks because, again, that's why I said it was counterproductive. She's trying to make sure that it didn't take away, and it wound up taking away because it's the internet filled with assholes. If we didn't have social media, no one would be talking about that post-match. It wouldn't be the talk of the town. It'd be who's advancing. But because the internet zooms in on one thing and focuses on it, that becomes the thing that the match becomes about. And unfortunately, that takes away from every woman in that ring that was doing their thing. And it's kind of a shame.
Yeah. And I can also see it from like a professionalism standpoint. Obviously, the main point of the story is the queen of the ring and, who's going to advance. So maybe, Jade was just focused on that. All right. I got to focus on finishing this match, completing my spots, whatever the case. But I'm just like, I just felt like that was a missed opportunity. It would have been a great moment if she's just like, fuck it, I don't care about this. I'm trying to win.
It would have been a cool moment if she was able to ad-lib on the spot, just like pull it off without any discomfort, be like, screw this, yeah. And then that could be a part of her, like her character going forward. We ditched the fucking gold wig and we let her wear her natural, cool, shaved head look. I think that'd be pretty fucking cool. I mean, we could have made it into
Is she shaved? I think she still has like a little.
It looked pretty. It looked pretty damn short. But I mean, I have all black sisters, and I can tell you this: when black girls, whenever they wear like long hair, they want to like look. They legit like mat their hair down is like really really short. They put that little cap over, and then they put their weave over that. So, and it's usually really short. But I digress. It would have been cool to see it going forward. Maybe we get a bit of a look change for Jade, but I'm hoping she takes this and just takes it on the chin and keeps moving. People will forget about it by this Friday.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we had a couple of backstage segments, but we're gonna hold off on those because it had to do with Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline. The other backstage segment was Gunther and his stipulation, which we'll get into here in a bit. So we're going to skip ahead. And there's a women's tag team match, Fatal Influence versus Brie Bella and Paige, the women's tag team champions, where Brie Bella and Paige won.
Okay, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this. Brie, the best Bella, and Paige, one of my goats. They won. Nothing. No news, no write-off. I feel like I haven't seen them on TV in forever. I feel like I never see them and they're champions. But when it comes down to it, I genuinely feel like they're holding their breath until Nikki's healed, and they're going to have the whole Nikki feigns being like their buddy and, I'm going to be your manager and I support you guys teaming. And then Nikki and Brie are going to turn on Paige and jump her out of the group, and then Nikki's going to steal Paige's title. And then it'll be the Bellas as the heel champions. That's what I think is going to happen. Then we're going to see Paige go forward and feud with them. I would really like to see, here's actually something I think would be really cool that I would love to see, and maybe we won't get it, but this is a fantasy book for me. If Rhea drops that title, please give me a tag team with Paige and Rhea. Give me a tag team with Paige and Rhea. Do it now. And if they feud with the Bellas, fine. but just give me a tag team of fucking Paige and Rhea. Like, genuinely, Merry Christmas to me. Happy birthday, please.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't give two shits about the match, and it's mainly because of Fatal Influence, not Paige and Brie. They're doing as much as they can with what they're given right now. Which, not that Fatal Influence isn't, but I just don't like how they're being booked right now. And I mean, I just think they're annoying as fuck. But I do think that Paige and Brie's tag title reigns could use like a better story because I don't know how I'm liking them as champions right now. Yes, they need like a match to defend the titles because they haven't in a while, I don't think. But I just want something new for them.
Yeah, I didn't really give two shits about this match either, mainly because of the fact that I will say it once, I will say it a million times, I will gladly scream it to the high motherfucking heavens from the top of a mountain. The only person from Fatal Influence who should have been called up is JC motherfucking Jane. That's it. I do not think from the beginning that Fallon Henley or Lainey Reed were ready for main roster, let alone going up against two legends the size of Brie Bella and Paige. So at this point, when it comes to Fatal Influence, I'm constantly going to be iffy on it because of the fact that I will always have that one thought that JC Jane should have been the only one called up out of Fatal Influence.
Yeah, they really haven't done much with, the Fatal Influence to make us really care about them. They haven't really introduced them. They haven't really done anything with them. They're very, very background wrestlers, background characters, Even when they were on NXT, like, they weren't really presented as a team that it's like, hey, these girls are important. They were kind of just there. Then they got called up to the main roster with JC Jane because they feel like JC Jane needs a faction. She's like the main focus of the group, so we got to make JC Jane look important. Let's call them all up together, but they're losing matches. The Fatal Influence are losing tag team matches. Yeah, the WWE is just telling us like, hey, you guys don't really need to care about them, unfortunately. And it sucks because the WWE hasn't done anything with them, but they're putting them on TV. And when they put them on TV, it's like, okay, who cares? It sucks, but that happened. Yeah, I'm also waiting for them to finally tell the story when Nikki Bella comes back and, she becomes the jealous twin and she turns. And I'm just waiting for that when it comes to Paige and Brie Bella, All right, on to some more interesting things. I thought this Sami Zayn segment with Cody Rhodes, the feud between Sami and Cody, it's really starting to pick up. It got a lot hotter on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown because Sami Zayn, despite doing the backstage stuff with Johnny Gargano where he talks to Gargano and supposedly he has someone to talk to that understands him, okay. So he goes from doing goofy shit backstage to talking some real serious business with the main champion, Cody Rhodes. And he's complaining, Sami Zayn is complaining like he usually does, and he calls out Cody. And basically Cody's like, hey, Sami, you hear that? The people are booing you. They're saying you suck. And guess what? You do suck. You've been complaining. You're desperate. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't know who this guy is, right? Sami Zayn gets hot, slaps Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes is like, all right, you owe me one. Cody slaps him back, and they have some tension there. Sami Zayn walks away. And, it's becoming more personal. It's getting more intense, and it's getting more interesting. I can't wait to see. Well, we already know what's going to happen next week. Sami Zayn is going to be the special guest referee As Gunther's stipulation, per Gunther, he requested Sami Zayn, after Gunther seeing what happened between these two, he said, I want Sami to be the special guest referee. Very good stuff here. What did you guys think about not just the segment with Cody and Sami, but also the big announcement that Sami is going to be a part of the championship match next week on Friday Night SmackDown?
I'll tell you what, I really did like this because it wasn't just like the exchange. It was Sami in between the moments on the mic. When he slaps Cody, the immediate regret from Sami, like, wait, hey, I went too far. I didn't mean to do that. Please, I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that. I mean, he goes, look, if you want to tear me apart, verbally, he's like, you can say whatever you want to me. You can say whatever you want to me. I'm so sorry. And then he's literally like holding like Cody's shoulder, and he goes in and tries to hug him and apologize. And he's hugging him like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I thought was really good because it plays with Sami's mindset of he is tilting towards heel, but he's also still regrettable of his actions. And that right there, to me, makes him a three-dimensional character versus a one or a two-dimensional character, because there's layers to how he's feeling. It isn't just, oh, I'm bitching and moaning and people turned on me. It's, I am frustrated. I am lashing out, but I realize I'm lashing out at the wrong people. You have what I want, and I want to take that title from you, but I don't want to disrespect and lose my friendship with you to do it. He's like, I want to beat you in this ring competitively, the better man win, not I'm going to destroy my friendship just for this title. And I like that a lot. And Cody smacking him back, I thought was great. And that nuance of Sami going to grab the steel chair and like, I'm going to get up here and then he goes, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. Because Sami knows he deserved it. Him being added to the title match as the guest referee, I think is an interesting twist, because a couple of things could happen here. One, you got to imagine Sami might go down because of a ref bump, and then another ref's going to come in and count it, because I can't just see Sami having the title swapped and quick counting Cody over to Gunther for the title switch. Two, we could be seeing a return or something here. We could be seeing a return. We could see an interference. We could see Randy Orton. We could see Drew. Hell, here's a shot in the dark. We could see Kevin Owens return. And maybe he's a baby face. And maybe he's the one who tries to calm Sami down. And maybe Sami turns on him too. Like there's so many ways this could go. That it really does make me excited for next week's SmackDown. Genuinely, it does.
The segment with Cody and Sami just made me mad the entire time, even though it was part of his character, like slapping Cody and instantly acting like Cody isn't going to do anything about that, because Cody's obviously going to slap him back. I mean, it's Cody. Come on. He's not just going to take it like that. But I mean, and then he went to go get the chair and didn't do anything to Cody. But I really like the thing between Cody and Sami. When Sami brought up Randy and Kevin, it reminded me of that one segment, which for the life of me, I can't remember who else was in it, but they were showing Kevin Owens why he can't have friends, because he ends up turning on them, which made me think, oh, Cody is like this, but the other way around. He can't have friends because they turn on him. So I enjoyed this overall, and just wish that Gunther wasn't a part of this story. Not because I hate him, I still do. But because I feel like it would be better without him. And then the stipulation announcement, I was surprised that he said special guest ref. I wholeheartedly thought he was going to do something crazy or a triple threat with Sami Zayn. But hey, I'm fine with it. And I thought he was going to pick Ludwig Kaiser as the special guest ref, because he said someone that he can trust. Not that Nick Aldis, not that Cody can trust, someone that Gunther can trust. But I so hope that Gunther doesn't win. I've made the statement once that it won't hurt Gunther to not be champion. And he's actually a better chaser than he is champion. Plus, I don't think they take it off Cody because Night of Champions is right around the corner, and I think they have Cody versus Sami at Night of Champions. Mainly because it's in Saudi Arabia, and that's Sami Zayn territory.
Yeah, the announcement, very, very wise decision from good old Gunther there, knowing the fact that, hey, you've got problems with Cody. I've got problems with Cody. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So let's make you the special guest referee. But also, stop me when Cody Rhodes was telling lies. Because as of late, he hasn't. He has been going around backstage, huffing, puffing, all of that. But you know who would have been in a great spot for right here if he was still in the company? If they didn't let him go a year ago? This would have been a great I told you so spot from Karrion motherfucking Kross. I'm just saying. Because all of this really started with Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross when Karrion was going, hey, you need to not care as much. You need to just do it. Pin him when you have the chance. Doesn't matter if it's a heelish move. Fucking do it. And if Karrion Kross was still in the company, right here would have been the perfect spot for him to walk up to Sami Zayn and just go, hey, my dude, I told you so a year ago. This is your time. Be who you are. A liar. And give into that heel side that you are clearly showing.
Yeah, so the other crazy thing about this episode of Friday Night SmackDown was the fact that Solo Sikoa was actually making some goddamn sense this Friday. Because he had a backstage segment with Jacob Fatu, right? Jacob Fatu showed up. He had a message for Solo Sikoa from Roman, where Roman told Solo, hey, Roman wants you to come home. And Solo Sikoa said, what the fuck? No, I'm not doing that. Like, that's not a home. That's a fucking doghouse. And you, like, he disrespected you. He embarrassed you, Solo. Roman did. He made you take a knee and kneel to him in front of everyone, in front of the family, in front of the whole world. Solo's like, I'm not going back to that. I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that, bro. So you tell Roman that if he wants me to go back home, he better come get me himself. And I thought this was worth mentioning. It's a backstage segment, but we see Solo Sikoa later on in the show, but he's actually making sense. This is a serious Solo, not really one that we're so used to seeing a whole lot. But I thought, wow, this is great. I love the fact that they're actually giving Solo Sikoa some fucking common sense. I thought that was great.
Man, whatever they smoke in California must be great. Are you out of your mind? Solo didn't make a lick of fucking sense. What are you talking about? This revisionist ass history. Roman humiliated him and made him take a knee. He literally got down on a knee himself. Roman didn't say shit. Jacob got done cutting a promo and dropped to a knee on his own and then kissed the fucking ring on his own. He didn't make him do anything. He agreed to the stipulation of a match and didn't honor it the first time and then honored it the second time and then fucking decided to be a man of his word, not because Roman made him, but because he wanted to show his kids what a man of his word looked like. Those were Jacob's own words. Roman didn't make him do shit. Okay. Let's not forget, Jacob was the one attacking him unprovoked for a couple of fucking weeks. This is some bullshit. And let's not talk about the fact that everything that Solo said Roman did to Jacob, Solo did to Jacob first. He humiliated Jacob. He made him say, I love you, Solo. He literally made him, like, he tried to make him give him the U.S. title. He tried to get him out of the way and relegate him to the tag division so Solo could take his opportunities. So bullshit. Bullshit. Solo didn't make no goddamn sense. Solo's a lying motherfucking manipulator.
So this is why I thought this was great and why I thought this made perfect sense. Because it goes back to what LA Knight has been saying. It goes back to LA Knight telling the Usos, you guys are back doing the same shit that you guys were doing 2 years ago. You guys are saying that you guys are not going to do Roman's bidding, but you guys are literally doing the same thing. Roman is telling you guys what to do again. And it's basically what Solo Sikoa is telling Jacob Fatu. I think we talked about this, Tommy. I think it was with you, Tommy, not that long ago. When you were like, yeah, they said, hey, we're going to be standing shoulder to shoulder now. We're all on the same playing field, but it doesn't feel like that. And now Jacob Fatu, he's joined them, and now Jacob, it seems like he's taking orders from Roman. And that's basically what Solo was telling him.
But hold on.
Is that not what's happening here?
No, there's a massive difference here.
So LA Knight is lying.
No, it's about perspective. LA Knight's so fucking butthurt about losing to Roman, getting screwed over due to interference 3 years ago. He's not looking at it from the audience's perspective. What are you talking about? They're doing Roman's bidding. Jimmy, he's keeping Jimmy aside for something else. Not sure yet. We haven't revealed that yet. But if he was holding him down, why would he literally tell Jey, hey, go get the other world title? He's not saying be a tag champion, be mid-card. He goes, no, level up. Be on the same level as me. That is shoulder to shoulder. And then it's different it's different for Jacob. Jacob's not an OG member of the Bloodline. Jacob just had to bend the knee because he lost due to his own word and his own idiocy. He is the new guy in the group. So the new guy does get the short end of the stick, especially when you're not the established OG members. That's how it works. When you join a club or a group, are you automatically equal with all the leaders? No. There's a general, then there are captains and commanders, and then there are all the rest of you people. Jacob is the rest of you people. That's like if Solo said, oh, we're equals in the MFTs. Bullshit, you're equals in the MFTs. You send your people in to get their ass kicked for you on a weekly basis and you run away. Roman literally went in there and listened to Jey when Jey told him, get CM Punk, get him, put him down. And Roman did that when Jey told him to. That's because they listen to each other now. And we've seen backstage segments when the Usos literally tell Roman, that's a bad idea. I don't agree with it. You shouldn't do that. And he goes, man, maybe you're kind of right. And he's listening to them now. It's not just in one ear, out the other. There is an actual brain trust happening in the Bloodline now.
Are you done?
Done speaking facts? Sure. Go ahead and write your fiction.
Jacob literally went up to Solo and said, I have a message for you from Roman.
What's wrong with that?
Roman is treating them as his fucking messengers.
What's Roman treating them? He sent Solo, or not Solo, he sent Jacob, one guy. One guy is not them. One guy is him. He sent the new guy who just beat his ass like a Cherokee drum to go deliver a message. What's wrong with delivering a message? Hey, go tell him this. Okay.
This is definitely like
that's not doing
Bloodline
dirty work.
This definitely feels like Bloodline from 2 years ago when Jey and Uso, and that's the whole point of this story, is like, are they back to doing the same shit from before? It seems like it.
It doesn't, because Bloodline from 2 years ago, Roman wasn't letting them get anywhere near world title material. He was only letting them go touch mid-card and tag gold, and he kept them there. He didn't let them come to his level. He just literally told Jey, dude, go get Cody's ass, be another world champion, and be with me shoulder to shoulder. We'll run this shit together across both brands. That's equality.
It's just
crazy. Do that in the OG Bloodline.
It's just crazy to think about how when Jacob Fatu first came in, he was like this killer. He was like this fucking monster. He was like this dude who can't be controlled, and everyone was afraid of him. And now he's Roman's errand boy.
So was Solo.
His messenger.
So was Solo.
Yeah, and how many and how much shit have you talked about Solo? How he's how he
first off,
sucks and
well,
he's
hold
not
on. You just said-
credible and he's the worst.
You just walked over your own point. You just said when Jacob came in, he was this big, bad, this and that, and now he's messenger. Homie, when he came in, big, bad, and this, he was under Solo, who still sent him to do his dirty work as the big, bad guy.
And
So, but Roman's the bad guy, but Solo's right? Solo did it first and longer.
I don't think that's related, dude.
What do you mean not related? It was an off branch of the bloodline. MFTs. When Jacob came in, he was under Solo when he debuted.
Yeah.
Yes,
And then he
made him his
traded
errand
on
boy
Solo.
and following him around like this, praising him like a little bitch.
And then he traded on him
6.5, 7 months later.
But when he was still under Solo, he still felt like a threat because he feels like
a threat now. He almost ripped. How many times he tried to rip Roman's throat out in the last month? He took out all 3 of them on his own, by the way.
When he was under Solo, did he ever go up to another wrestler and be like, "Hey, I have a message from Solo"?
Yes, he did actually.
Yes,
he did it with Roman. It was all of them out there. The 2024 War Games, the OG Bloodline, except for Punk. And Jacob appeared on the Titantron saying, "I got a message for you, Roman." So
I don't like how
he also sent him after Jey. He sent him after Jey.
I don't like. This is not a good look for Jacob, man.
I don't know how Jacob's still. And it's not like Jacob's relegated to background henchman. Jacob is still like telling the guys on Monday, "Go fuck yourself. I ain't listening to shit. I acknowledge Roman, not you two." He's still standing up for himself. He's not a bitch boy. He's still putting 10 toes down. You know, it's not like he's like, he's not Talatanga. He's still the guy that 3 weeks ago ran Jimmy, Jey, and Roman all through a barricade at the same fucking time on his own.
So you think Solo should be like, "Yeah, Jacob, go follow Roman. Go and, be a part of his blood. Go do what Roman says."
Well,
that makes sense to you?
Following Roman did wonders for Solo, so I don't know why he's complaining.
What? Like what? I mean,
what do you mean?
How many times have you put
spot
down Solo Sikoa how he fucking sucks? Why do people follow this guy? He can't fucking win a match to save his life.
True. But that's a good thing, right? Because as much as he sucks, he wouldn't be able to lead a group on his own unless he had followed under Roman first. And now he has enough credibility from being with Roman that those idiots are willing to follow him in the first place.
Well, I thought it made Solo look really good. How he was telling Jacob, "Hey, don't do it. Been there, done that."
It makes him look really good if you don't think about it too much. The moment you start thinking about it, everything Solo said falls apart.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Jacob and all of that, and also the Usos, because it's to me from where I'm standing, it's looking like fucking 2023 Bloodline all over again with Roman being the head.
Which was still peak, by the way. But one last point. Jacob is in the same position Solo was when Solo was the enforcer for the Bloodline. It's a 4-man group without Sami. But regardless, when you look at it, Jacob is already 10 times more interesting than Solo was when Solo was the enforcer. And Solo was the silent enforcer who even Roman was afraid of. Now, it's funny to think about Roman being afraid of him now, but he was at one point looking over his shoulder when he bumped him shoulder to shoulder on accident. Now you have someone like Jacob who does have real personality, real character, real history, now real beef with Roman, but willing to put it aside to honor his word. That is so much more interesting than anything
but
that he was
not
doing
the
with
same
Solo.
killer. He's not the same killer, bro.
How is he
like
not
when
the
he
same
first
killer?
came
It's
in.
been 2 weeks since that match. 2 weeks. How do you lose aura
When
in
he
2
first
weeks?
came in, I believe that he would actually be a threat to Roman. And then they did those 2 matches. Not one time did I think Jacob Fatu was going to go over.
Bro, when he first came in, he
Not
was
once.
getting his ass beat by Cody and Jey when he came in.
Nah, man.
Now we
it's
turn
just-
around over a year and a half later, and he almost beat the brakes off Roman twice. That's still a
Almost.
threat. Yeah,
Almost.
not beating Roman is fine, but nearly beating Roman. And by the way, a month straight of putting Roman on his ass, still more impressive than over 80% of what the roster's been able to do to Roman.
People were saying Jacob Fatu was going to be the next tribal chief and blah, blah, blah.
He was never going to be the next Roman. He was never going to be the next Roman. But if you're talking about credible threats to Roman's reign, pun absolutely intended, he was 100% a top 5 people that you could say believably, oh, I could see him beating the shit out of Roman. Do I see him as like a world champion? I could buy them putting the title on him. I don't see him being the tribal chief or running a brand, but I could see them experimenting enough because of who Jacob is and how he acts and his energy. I could see them being, let's do the Jacob experiment for 3 months and have him take it off Roman. I could buy that. So I wouldn't buy, I never would have bought Solo, but I would buy Jacob.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with Jacob. But so Ray Phoenix, he recently won the AAA Cruiserweight Championship over in AAA a couple weeks ago. And they showcased it on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown versus Axiom. And it was his first title defense, so I didn't expect Axiom to win at all, but this was kind of just like, hey, this is the type of matches that we have over in AAA. Check this out. If you want to see more of this, come watch AAA. Is basically what this whole thing felt like.
End of the day, man, this is gonna sound so mean. I don't mean it to be. I respect the hell out of both these men, Ray Phoenix and Axiom. I kind of forgot the match happened, and it's not because anything with these guys. It's just placement on the show, but also just you're promoting your 4th brand on the main roster, and I feel like we never fucking see these guys anymore. So it's hard for me to remember that I like these guys when I never see them. Not everybody watches all WWE TV. Not everybody's watching both main rosters, NXT, Speed, fucking goddamn Main Event, and AAA. Like, who's got the time? But even then, it was a solid match. It was kind of quick, I think. I mean, quick enough that I could not retain most of it, but love seeing Axiom. Big fan of Axiom. Really, really want to see more Nathan Frazier in Axiom. But Ray Phoenix is fucking great. Axiom's great. You know, if anything, I'm glad they got a showcase on SmackDown to show off what they're doing in AAA, period. I think that's always good. You know, they dropped the ball at the El Grande Americano stuff, trying to hot potato it between the main roster and AAA. And, you know, I feel like if you're doing AAA stuff, stop bringing it up to the main roster. You don't need to promo these guys on main TV. Show us highlights of what they've done because you want to do 20 ad breaks anyway. Throw it in the ad breaks. You know, let us see the highlights of those matches there. And then it's a quick advertisement of, hey, this is what we're doing. Because if you're going to give someone a 6-minute match, that's basically an advertisement for AAA anyway. So just shorten it to a video package and advertise it that way. It's more digestible. And these guys don't feel like they're not getting the reactions and the momentum that I feel like they deserve for all the hard work they're putting in.
This is going to seem kind of a crazy statement, but I think this was probably match of the night for me. I really enjoyed this match. In all aspects of it, there's absolutely nothing to complain about it because both of these men are great at what they do. And Blood, I think you're in luck because I think Nathan Frazier's coming after that title because like 2 weeks ago, I think when Chad apologized to Ray Phoenix, before that, Axiom and Nathan Frazier were talking about title shots for the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. So I'm excited for that. But the only thing is that I will complain about this match, and it's not even about the match itself. It's about Ray Phoenix. If this is what Ray Phoenix can do as a champion, his first defense, I see him being a fighting champion like Penta, then I think you need to find a way to give him the United States title because I think he has proved to everyone that hasn't seen him as champion that he can be an amazing fucking champion. Holy crap.
Yeah, if this is his first defense here, absolutely give him a main roster title because holy crap. This was his first, and it felt like this was his fifth. Like, that's how good this match actually was to me. Because it's not Nathan Frazier, it's Axiom, and it's Rey Fenix. It makes me wonder how good of a match we could get if we're seeing Rey Fenix versus Penta, or both of them as a tag team back together again. That's what I really want out of this. But because of the fact that Penta is on Raw, that does complicate things a little bit. But at some point, I'm really, really hoping that we get that, because holy crap, that would blow the damn roof off of the place.
Yeah, my thing is to what both of y'all said, and I apologize, Edgar, but when you see a match like this, and again, I would like to apologize and reiterate, I'm not dogging these guys. I'm not saying what they do is forgettable. I'm saying that I feel like WWE needs to put these guys in better positions to where the audience cares more when they see it, because we don't see them enough to have a main roster audience care about them enough. You know what I mean? Like Ilya Dragunov, where the fuck is he? Nathan Frazier, how come we haven't seen him on TV? They brought in Motor City Machine Guns, barely used them, and when they did use them, it was to lose or not get anything at all after one title win 2 weeks into being on the show. There's so many guys that are so fucking talented in this company that if you put them on TV, they're going to give you match of the night because they are that fucking good. The problem is you never get them on TV when they should be on TV. Why are we hiring these guys, putting them on main roster, and then going, we'll put you on the fourth brand south of the border because we just don't have anything for you here? Then why did you hire me? Because I want to know, like, when I look at Rey Fenix, in my opinion, is just as good as Penta. And in some ways, he's better. So I wouldn't hate seeing both brothers run both mid cards on separate brands. But no, they're going to throw them down in AAA. Why? What was the like, you have all this airtime for Penta, and he's earned it. Why can't you afford his brother the same exact thing, who's just as good and could be just as popular and beloved? And everybody knows that's his brother. So maybe that fanfare might transfer a little bit to Rey Fenix. Put this man on SmackDown and feature him heavily. We can feature Dragon Lee, who's extremely talented, but you don't have Rey Fenix time on main roster TV? Does that not boggle your mind?
No.
To finish my thoughts fully, so did it work with the El Grande Americano stuff? No, because there were multiple factors that didn't make it work. Like the whole thing of the roles were reversed on both brands. On AAA, Ludwig Kaiser was the babyface, but on main roster, he was the heel, and vice versa with Chad Gable. That was the biggest thing with that. But with Rey Fenix and holding that title, he wants to show it off completely. He wants to do it on main roster and on AAA. So that's how it will work with Rey Fenix, unlike it did with the El Grande Americano stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a lot of things, man. Like, I'm even going back to, like, I'm pretty sure Penta was the first one that showed up to the WWE, and then it was Rey Fenix. So as soon as Penta showed up, they put him over in a big way. You know, they presented him, and then Rey Fenix showed up, and it was like, well, we have Rey Fenix, who's, we all know he's really good, but I feel like Penta got the head start. And from the beginning, like even going back to the Unreal documentary where you hear Paul Heyman talk about, you know, Penta's crowd connection with the audience and the kids, and he's so marketable and he's so over. And I think the WWE has more, I guess, they get more out of Penta and his momentum right now as they do with Rey Fenix. Now, we haven't seen them team up together. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It might happen this year in AAA, but it seems like the guy that the WWE is really focusing on is Penta. So,
But in my opinion, let's be fair here. Have they really given Rey Fenix a fair shake to showcase that crowd connection, that ability, the way that they did with Penta? Penta's first match on TV was with a fucking Olympian, Chad Gable. And they had one of the greatest debut matches I've ever fucking seen. And then immediately let him cut this impassioned promo directly after the match. Off the bat, they were like, we're going to give Penta the rocket. They didn't afford Rey Fenix even half of that on his arrival. And that's his brother. Now, remember, they originally wanted to bring them in from AEW as a tag team, but there was contractual issues based on injury time being added to Rey's contract in AEW. And Rey Fenix was tweeting about how he's a prisoner here and they won't let me out. And they're trying to, yada, yada. And it was going to become a lawsuit. And I'm like, well, you wanted them both as a package deal so bad. So how come if you were going to push them to the moon together, why can't you push them to the moon separate? Because you decided, well, fuck it, we'll give all the fanfare to Penta and we'll still hire you because we want you here, but now we're not going to give you much of anything. But again, I say, why is Dragon Lee, and hats off to Dragon Lee, but Dragon Lee's been in the company for 4 or 5 years. He was the next Rey Mysterio for 6 months. And they just remember that was a whole thing for him a year ago. And he's still barely featured on TV, but he gets featured on main roster TV more than Rey Fenix, which is crazy. And they're almost like the same fucking wrestler.
I don't know, man. Penta just got over, I think, way more than the WWE expected, and they just decided to run with it.
Which is fair, but when I think about what if Rey had come in first and had that match with Chad Gable, would they have afforded him the exact same opportunities that they afforded Penta if he had had just as good a match as Penta did with Chad? That's the question, because they wrestle a extremely similar style.
Maybe not, but it's more than that with Penta. Penta has the walk. He has the signature thing,
catchphrases. He's very marketable.
The face paint,
yes. I think when they, what I think it is before we move on, I really do think that when they looked at Penta, they saw this guy is extremely marketable, and they looked at him and they saw merchandise. They saw toys, and they could sell masks, and they could sell t-shirts, and they could do branding because he had all these catchphrases and all this other stuff. And I think that when they look at Rey, they go, you're extremely talented. You are his brother. But when they look at Rey, let's be honest, they look at Rey Fenix, and to them, he is the Matt to Penta's Jeff Hardy. And I think that's what it is.
That, and also the fact that they were already in plans of buying AAA. So they're like, we're going to buy AAA because Penta showed up at the Rumble, right? That's where he debuted it. And then they made the announcement.
It was the second second Raw on Netflix.
Yes, and then his first official big match was the Rumble right after he had faced Chad, but he was in the Rumble. But he had debuted 2 weeks into the year.
And then after that, he was in the Rumble, which was in January, right? Or whatever the fuck. February.
I believe January, last year it was the first day of February, yeah.
And then that following April, they bought AAA. So it made sense to have Penta there, and then we'll bring in Rey Fenix later because we're going to need these top luchador guys in AAA.
And that's fine, and that's totally fine. It's just, but if you were going to send him to AAA anyway, you should have put way more stock in him on the main roster. So when he got down to AAA, he would have been the biggest fucking deal in the building. You're talking about he's got to go down there with
Phoenix or Penta?
Rey Fenix, because he's got, he's going down there with the likes of the Vikingos and Mr. Iguanas, who were so over, and all these other people down there, Psycho Clown and all these people who were very popular. Okay. And then you look at the fact that the two most over guys in AAA are two white guys that are not luchadors. That right there is kind of damning in and of itself. The king of the Mexicans in AAA are a German guy and a white guy from fucking up north in the US.
The people in Mexico love Rey Fenix. It's kind of crazy to me that they're using him in the cruiserweight title division. But that could just be the start for him. They still have another mid-card title, which is a Latin American title, right? you know, Ray Phoenix could fuck around and team up with his brother for the tag team titles. And then from there, I mean, Ray Phoenix, unlike Penta, I don't even think Penta has won the AAA Mega Championship, but Ray Phoenix has.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I look at Ray Phoenix, and again, no disrespect to Dragon Lee. He's fucking phenomenal. But when I look at Ray Phoenix, I do see the future of Lucha Libre. I do see the next Rey Mysterio. I do see the face of AAA. I see it when I look at him. I see it when I watch him wrestle, and when he moves, his timing is fucking incredible. I see everything they tried to force onto Dragon Lee, and I see them still forcing it onto Dragon Lee when all that attention, and no offense to Dragon Lee, should be going to Ray Phoenix. I genuinely think that guy has the potential to be the fucking face of that entire brand.
And you know what's crazy too? Just the last thing I'm going to say about this, because we have to move on, is that when it comes to like lucha libre and the style of wrestling, Ray Phoenix is the most athletic compared to Penta. Penta is like he does more of the character work. Yes, Penta does a lot of good lucha stuff, but Ray Phoenix is more acrobatic. He's more high flying than Penta is.
Yeah, Penta would be known as a high flying showman. But he also wrestles a much more technical lucha libre style. He is a much more technical wrestler. When you look at Ray is the quintessential lucha libre. He is the high flyer. He is a real high flyer. He's not going up there and he does two moves on the fucking ropes. No, this dude's all over the place. So again, I hats off to Ray Phoenix and Axiom. I'm glad they're getting time on a big, massive network like USA, but I would really, really hope that when the time comes, WWE, when they really do put a lot of their chips in on AAA, especially with their show coming up, what is it, like September? It's in like 2 different venues, Triple Mania in September. I really hope that motherfucker is somewhere near the top of the card because, bro, give him a chance and watch him blow you the fuck away.
Well, I think you just summed it up, bro. Like you just said, like Penta is more of a showman, right? He's would you say a high flying what?
He's a high flying showman that wrestles a technical brawler style.
Right. So a high flying showman fits more in that WWE world as compared to a Ray Phoenix who is more about the acrobatic, you know, lucha high flying things, which fits more.
You're fair.
Not,
I mean,
that's
it's
not
fair.
in the WWE, you know.
And again, you make an extremely fair point. In WWE, what Penta does is what they like out of their main eventers, that showmanness, that, you know, the Rock and the Hogan stuff, that showmanship with a little bit of flash peppered in there, but the ability to tell a really good story. Technical wrestling is usually used to tell a good story in the ring. And then a lot of their high flying stuff has always been upper mid card. So you are correct there, but I digress. Hats off to those two. Let's move on. We are running past our time, but we are going to finish here, guys. We do appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and hanging out with us. And thank you so much for being with us here on Snug Wrestling. We're about to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is great. This is fun. I like the back and forth. I like the debates. We haven't met like all week, it feels like. So we have a lot of stuff to catch up on. And
this is what loving wrestling looks like and sounds like for those of you listening on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, they shot an angle for Trick Williams' United States Championship. And it was Trick and Lil Yachty, Lil Boat. Lil Yachty has become one hell of a manager for good old Trick Williams, I think. He's always walking out with the kendo stick, being a really good hype man for good old Trick Williams. And Trick Williams is mad because he lost his big match at King of the Ring last week. He's not happy. You know, he wants to prove to everyone who he is. And he's still the United States champion. He's still Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers. And he gets interrupted by Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes. So they had a little back and forth. And they set up a match, a number 1 contenders match for next week. Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints. And the winner is going to face Trick Williams for the United States Championship at Night of Champions, which is fucking amazing. I'm pulling for Ricky Saints here because I would love to see Ricky Saints get a PLE spot at Night of Champions, but I thought this was fucking great.
Yeah, all three of these guys. Man, it's so cool to see where we are in 2026 with this mid-card division. I got to be honest. When I look at Ricky, I do see a generational heel. This guy there's something about Ricky. He just has a very I want to punch him in the face fucking charisma about him. And that is so good in a heel. And remember, I mean, you're only as, the good guy is only ever going to be as good as his bad guy. I'd also like to really highlight that I think it's extremely impressive. I never expected this little Yachty shit to go on as long as it has. I thought this guy was going to pop up for the one PLE where, Trick beat Sami and that was it. And no, he's literally been with him every week. And I think that's pretty freaking cool. I did not expect, a celebrity and a musician of his caliber that's so well known and beloved around the world to genuinely take this as seriously as he has and actually devote a good amount of his time to this entire act. I got to tip my hat to Lil Yachty, genuinely. I do think that's just kind of wildly impressive to me. I feel like the combination of Lil Yachty and Trick Williams should be a lot bigger than it is. I feel like it should be a lot more, it should be a bigger deal. When these celebrities come in and they manage or they valet for this talent, and they are a big celebrity in the industry like Lil Yachty, to have been here this long now. He's been with Trick for 2 months, and he's been here. This wasn't some one-stop shop bullshit like that kid last year, the rapper last year, already blank on who the fuck that was.
Travis Scott.
This is Lil Yachty could be doing anything he wants, and he's here. So I respect that and appreciate that. When it comes to Carmelo, dude had one hell of a U.S. title run, put on some of the best matches. Him and Ricky are killing it. I really still want a best of 7 out of these guys. But I'm telling you, I do hope, and you might not like this, Edgar, really do hope that this ends in a draw next week, because I want to fucking see a triple threat out of these three at Night of Champions. Come on. Look, I know you don't like multi-mans, but Ricky Saints versus Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams with Lil Yachty in his corner, and there's no DQs and triple threats. Dude, everything goes. Cheating goes. How Carmelo and Ricky have been trading cheating and everything. And then you got Trick there, who's basically a tweener. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited for Night of Champions, but I would like to reiterate one last time before I pass it on to my good buddy Toxic here, that out of all three of these guys, I got my eyes on Ricky's career right now. Ricky is just exuding generational fucking heel energy. He has the potential to be the best heel in this generation if they keep at it the way he is, and he keeps getting the TV time and working the camera the way he keeps doing. You just want to fucking hit him, but man, you just don't want to look away either, because he's so good in the ring too.
I like the fact that Trick said, okay, let's wind the party down and let's talk about it. I lost. He accepted defeat. He didn't try to cover it up, even though he got cheated. He's like, I lost. There's nothing else to say. And I'm going to still be the United States champion. But between Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes, two absolute, I don't even know the words for them. That's how great they are at what they're doing. And Ricky Saints has only been on the main roster for what? Couple months or 1 month? Yeah. So, and he's killing it right now. He's basically had Carmelo Hayes' exact main roster run. He had the match with Cody, and then he went straight into the
US.
Yeah. So I'm liking it. And then I'm with blood. Their match needs to end in a draw, double count out, something like that. Like they can maybe just low blow each other. I don't know. Whatever you got to do to make this a triple threat.
And he froze. Great. Go ahead, Tommy.
So here's my thing. I love Ricky Sainz. I love Carmelo Hayes. They're great. Everything involving the story is fantastic, and I absolutely love it. Except for one. I love what Trick Williams is doing, but I cannot fully take him seriously when there's a man that sounds like a child talking for him. That being Lil Yachty. Every time he talks, the only thing I can think in my head is, well, I can't take anything you're saying seriously because I'm so focused on the fact that you sound like a little boy. That's my biggest problem. If it was just Trick Williams being there, talking on his own, I would be able to take everything he's saying seriously because he sounds like a massive guy, like someone who absolutely could go for the world title at some point. But you've got Lil Yachty talking for him 90% of the time, and I can't take it seriously. Carmelo Hayes coming out, I knew that him going after the U.S. title was still going to be a thing. I knew they were going to do something with it. But Ricky Sainz, this man, even when he was on NXT, was very quick with how he went, and it was phenomenal. He came in, quickly captured the North American title, lost that, and then quickly after that, scored the NXT World title. That is how good Ricky Sainz is the fact that they had him hold both of them extremely quickly after he debuted, and I cannot wait to see how this goes. But I'm with the both of you, where I'm sorry, Snug. I'm so sorry, Edgar. But I need to see a triple threat between these three guys, because it would be an NXT triple threat out of this. These are two men who have had each other's numbers for a hot minute, that being Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. But then you add Ricky Sainz in there. Holy shit, that is one hell of a match.
And let's be honest, it's not like they haven't been setting this up to end in a triple threat anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm afraid you guys are right, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens with that. Then we had a women's tag team match. Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton teamed up versus B-Fab and Michin, where Michin and B-Fab got the win with the help of Jade Cargill. But is it just me, or does this tag team with Michin and B-Fam feel a lot like what they were doing with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss? We're like, are we friends? Are we not friends? I got to warm up to you. We got to get along. We'll get along. Yeah. Same old same, it feels like to me, at least.
Going to be 100% honest. Only person I cared about in this match is Chelsea Green. She's the only one I was watching, only one I was focused on. Again, I like to reiterate, tough woman, Chelsea Green. I feel like I have like a personal connection to her character now. Again, she went through a heart surgery a couple of months ago and was off TV, and within 24 hours was doing an interview in her fucking recovery room with Busted Open Radio, and then just a few weeks later, she's back on TV bumping and slamming and running around like it never happened. Like, as someone who's had 2 open heart surgeries, I've said this before, and I was a pro wrestler after those open heart surgeries, it can be very hard for us to keep cardio and keep stamina during our matches. It gets hard. When I wrestled, a lot of the time we had to, there were moments in the match where I would need the match to break down so I could get my heart rate back down so I could keep going. So when I look at Chelsea having these 6 to 10 minute matches, part of me is worried for her. The other part of me is like, nah, she's got this. She's a pro. But hats off to her. She's the only interesting thing about this entire part of the show. And I guess she's a babyface now, which is kind of like, oh, I guess she's a babyface now. But yeah, Michin and B-Fab, I couldn't honestly tell if it feels like Alexa and Charlotte, because one, at least Alexa and Charlotte is interesting. And it was somewhat hammy, sometimes corny, sometimes a little cringy, but they were putting on pretty decent matches, or they were every time, they're in the ring together, Charlotte's hot tag is one of the loudest pops every night. And Alexa setting up the Sister Abigail DDT is always one of the loudest pops out of any match on any given night. So they have that going for them. Michin and BFAB, it's like, 4 months ago, I forgot you worked here. And now that you're on TV together, you make one total wrestler that people pay attention to. And I don't think you're doing anything to Jade's overall presentation. I don't think you're helping it. I don't think you're hurting her presentation. I don't think you need Jade. I don't even think Jade needs you, because it's not like anything you guys are doing for each other is helping the others. Like, how do you give Jade a stable and then she loses the title 3 weeks after her stable forms? Like, what the fuck is that? So I don't know, man. Like, this is not going to last to the end of the year. I can tell you that right now.
Would you look at that? I also didn't care about this match. It felt like the 2 tag matches I just didn't care about. And it's not because any of the women themselves. It's simply because I just didn't care. I just didn't. I hope Jade beating down Tiffany means she gets moved into the mid-card title scene, but I do not need to see Tiffany versus Jade again. No, I do not need to see that. But one thing I do want to point out is something about Michin and Dragon Lee, which is kind of unrelated, but related in the same point. I do like how they both use the Styles Clash, and every time on commentary, they put it over, like with Dragon, oh, he borrowed the Styles Clash from Dragon Lee, or shades of AJ Styles, like stuff like that. It's just great to see that. And I hope that AJ gives the Phenomenal Forearm to Javon Evans, because Javon Evans has asked for it. So
I would like to say really quickly, because you make a great point. I apologize, Tommy. The one thing about this stable I will say very positively about the stable of Jade, BFAB, and Michin, they are all the best at one thing. Clearly, BFAB is the best talker. We've heard her. She's a very underrated promo. 2, Michin, easily the best wrestler and has the most experience out of all 3 of them. And 3, Jade has the most presence, the most physical aura, the most intimidation. So I can understand why they put them together when you think about those facets, that all 3 of them pick up the slack where the others lack. It's just the booking behind them is not supporting their unity.
Yeah, my biggest problem with this is the fact that ever since the entire faction with AJ Styles, Michin, and
Good Brothers.
Yes, and the Good Brothers, that entire faction separated extremely quietly. Like, one of them went out on injury, and then all of a sudden the entire group just slowly but surely disbanded. I feel like Michin has become more and more forgettable. The biggest person in this match was Chelsea Green, because as Blood said, literally a couple of months ago, girl had open heart surgery. She's still over here taking bump after bump after bump. And even after her surgery, right after, she was still on WWE TV with a video package for Tiffany Stratton from her hospital bed. That's the biggest thing here. The biggest person in this match is Chelsea Green. And I'm with Blood, where she's the only one out of the 4 that I really give a shit about, because she is the biggest name out of the 4 of them.
Here's the only thing about this whole thing. Yes, it was cool to see Chelsea Green, but what is this fucking leading to? Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton? Is Chelsea Green going to get her United States title back? Because after this match, the one that was left standing with the title was Jade Cargill. So it's like, are we going to see Jade versus Tiffany again for the United States Championship? Again, cool to see Chelsea Green back, but what was the point of all of this? I mean, are we going to see Chelsea Green and Tiffany go after the women's tag team championships? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, again, you make an extremely fair point, man. Again, what I just said, I understand the unity of Jade and her team. I don't even know if they have a fucking name, but literally the booking doesn't support any of this. this booking in particular feeding into that point. Why are they in a tag match with the U.S. champion and the former U.S. champion, and then someone who was just the world champion and is interfering in the mid-card tag match that isn't for anything? So none of the, it just feels like WWE was like, we need a match at this point in time on the show. Who's available? Well, we could put Meechin and B-Fab in here, and we could put Tiffany and Chelsea over here. Yeah, but do we really want to beat any of them clean? Well, we could beat Meechin and B-Fab, but then we would kind of kill their momentum with Jade. Okay, well, do you want to pin Chelsea? Well, people really like her, so we'd get a lot of flack like we did for Unreal, and we don't want to pin Tiffany clean. Great, so we book ourselves into a corner. Yeah, so what do we do? Interference. Like, it's just like, well, come on. What is this leading to? Again, unless you're going to book Chelsea as a serious contender, that all the fans, we've all been clamoring for a serious run from Chelsea fucking Green because we want to see it. You have not made us buy into the fact with Chelsea's booking that she could credibly beat Jade or that she could credibly beat Tiffany. So, and here's the thing though, when you're talking about experience and actual real ring acumen and skill, she actually is better than both of them. So it just comes down to, where are we going with this? You are right, Edgar.
All right, the main event, it was hyped up a few times throughout the show with some backstage interviews, some backstage segments. We saw LA Knight cut a promo. He did an interview with Kathy Kelly, which by the way is in some hot water with Kevin Owens as of recently. Where LA Knight is like, well, this is a King of the Ring match, fatal 4-way, no disqualification. Jacob is here. Jimmy is here. We already know how this is going to go. So LA Knight was already teasing, there's going to be interference. There's going to be run-ins. Anything can happen. Solo Sikoa and Royce Keys did the same thing in their backstage segment, where Solo was telling Royce Keys, like, hey, I know you're not very happy with me, but the Bloodline are going to do what Bloodline usually do. And, I'm going to be out there to watch your back, which they're teasing Solo Sikoa getting involved in the main event, which he did. And for this King of the Ring match, we had Finn Balor, Royce Keys, LA Knight, and Jey Uso. Now, this is the King of the Ring, so I was thinking the winner of this match is potentially going to go after Roman or Cody. Who would I like to see go after either one of these two guys? And out of all of these four guys, the least guy that I personally wanted to see win actually won the damn thing. And it was Jey Uso. It tells a good story. Jey Uso winning. It'd be cool if Jey wins the King of the Ring and he says, fuck it, I'm going after Roman. That would be interesting, I think. But because of what Roman said to Jey Uso a few weeks ago, go after Cody. If Jey Uso wins this thing, he might go after Cody. All right. But it's Royce Keys. He looked really good in this match. Fuck, can you imagine Royce Keys versus Roman? That would be fucking amazing. It's Finn Balor. It's LA Knight, somebody who feels like doesn't get the time of day. But ended up being Jey Uso. Jey Uso won this one, and he's advancing in the King of the Ring. How did you guys feel about that?
I'm not upset about it because, again, when you look at everybody in the match, I don't have a problem with any of these guys winning. Let's be honest. Royce, new on the scene, fresh on the scene, give him a big win, really kind of get the fire lit under his ass the same way we're doing Oba. You look at LA Knight, story-wise, history-wise, with Roman, the Bloodline, makes complete sense narratively. You look at Finn Balor, just back to being a mega baby face. Everybody loves him. Went balls to the walls with CM Punk twice just a few months ago. I could absolutely see him finally climbing back to the main title picture, which so many of us have been begging for. And then you have Jey. Narratively speaking, he makes as much sense as Roman. He has history with Cody. He has history with Roman. We could toy with that story-wise to see where his real allegiance lies to himself, as Roman had basically told him a few months ago, you got to start being selfish. Or he decides, well, I think I want to see how that gold tastes on the Undisputed title, as Roman had told him just a few weeks ago. Any of these guys make sense. And I don't think anybody could really be mad at any of them winning except for the Jey Uso haters. But let's be honest. The two guys I said I really, really thought made the most sense to win King of the Ring, I specifically said it was Jey and LA. I said it several times. I didn't think Oba needed to win it because I knew it was leading to Brock, and I know that Brock was going to be a part of taking him out. I don't think Oba's winning this thing. So when it comes down to it, Jey winning is fine by me because he's one of my two picks. If it can't be LA, which I really, 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 really wanted, he was my number one to really give him something to sink his teeth into. Also, he's just killing it on Raw right now. I'm okay with Jey because Jey versus Cody or Jey versus Gunther again, or Jey versus Cody at SummerSlam, I'm here for it. They had a great fucking match 2 years ago. So I can't complain. I feel like I got a buffet here, a smorgasbord of options that all sound good. So I thought this was really good. I thought it was great. I loved it.
Let me start off by saying that any of these four men could have won, and it still would have felt the same way. It still would have done the same for me. Like, they all deserve this. They all need this. And no matter what the haters online say, Jey is one of them, and it feels right for him to win. But not at the same time. Mainly because, let's take a trip down memory lane. 2024 King of the Ring tournament. Jey made it all the way through and then got fed to Gunther. Keep in mind, he's the most over at the time. So, I mean, you could have pulled the trigger then and gave it to him then, but you're doing it now. But I guess that's why it doesn't feel that good for me, but it does at the same time because, one, Jey's my favorite, and two, he just deserves it right now. I'm happy he won because I get to see a recent dream match of mine that I've wanted to see, which happen to be my two favorite wrestlers right now, Jey Uso and Javon Evans, which I suspect will be a great match. And listening to the IWC get mad over this is absolutely hilarious to me. And I think Jey feels the same way because after he won, I'm pretty sure he posted on his story on Instagram saying, "Y'all mad," with a laughing emoji. So I find that funny that they just have to hate and he don't even care, and I don't either. But I'm ready to see Javon versus Jey.
Yeah, Javon versus Jey is going to be an absolute banger. There is no doubt about that. You're talking about the young OG versus main event Jey Uso. Yes, please. Yeet on that one. It's going to be absolutely massive. I cannot wait to see that. But deep, deep down, I didn't want Jey to win. I'm glad that he did, but deep down, I wanted Balor. I wanted King Balor at the end of this, because my biggest problem is the fact that he still has that hanging over him that he had a 1 day, less than 24-hour Universal title reign. And I want to see so bad another world title reign, a proper world title reign from Finn Balor. But unfortunately, that's not what we're getting. But deep down, that's what I really, really wanted to happen. I'm glad that Jey won, but at the same time, Balor's the one with the most struggle throughout all these years, though, and the fact that he had to deal with an injury which took the title off of him less than 24 hours later.
There are three specific guys I could see a lot of story being presented to us as come Mania season. You know, every single year Mania season, there are 2 or 3 guys that WWE really focuses on as in this is their story this year. You know, you had Kofi Mania, you had the Yes Movement with Daniel Bryan, you had Finish the Story. So for me, the 3 guys I really could see WWE like going, this guy, and this guy are the main focal points of this year's Mania, really come down to 3 people for me. Oba Femi, Oba Femi, Finn Balor, I think, is one, telling the story that climbed to the top, the title he never lost. He's finally back to it. And I genuinely do think Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia. I think those three guys make the most sense for WWE to tell full circle story on come January all the way through April next year. And I don't think any of the fans would have a problem with those three guys being a focal point. That's my prediction for Mania season, who I think that that 4 month period is going to be centered around. But I'm with you. I really do want to see a story of Finn Balor making his way back to the top of the mountain just one more time. He doesn't need to hold it for 6 months or 7, but please let him finally prove to everybody he was never a fluke. He was never a mistake. And that just because you get injured doesn't mean you get cold feet on talent and never give him a chance again. Because I think Vince was wrong for that. But I'm happy to see SmackDown is actually looking like I think it might start being more interesting than Raw. Am I alone in that assessment, or are you guys starting to get that energy too?
Well, yeah, just look at the matches we're getting next week. We're getting Charlotte versus Liv for the Queen of the Ring semifinal. Ricky Saints versus Carmelo Hayes, #1 contenders match for U.S. title. Cody versus Gunther, WWE Undisputed Championship match, special guest referee Sami Zayn. And I'm pretty sure the tag titles are also going to be on the line. So I think I might have to watch SmackDown Live next week. It's going to be pretty stacked.
Bro, man, I'm feeling a little spoiled as a WWE fan. I don't know about y'all, but this summer is starting to really, really kick off in a great way. And I'm hoping that they continue this trend. And again, as we spoke earlier, Punk potentially being back in just a handful of weeks, again, a part of SmackDown. Drew McIntyre's done filming the Highlander movie. He's impending a return. And we know that Randy's, bi-yearly freaking vacation is ending soon. There is so much story happening here with a potential that we could also see Kevin Owens return before the end of this year. So it's like, man, this could turn out to be the best year for SmackDown in quite a long time, probably since the Bloodline was at their height going into WrestleMania 40. And I'm here for it. I am so fucking here for it. And we're also here for it with you guys too here on Snug Wrestling. Well, that being said, guys, thank you so much for kicking it with us here on another episode of Snug Wrestling. That was the review for Friday Night SmackDown, and I believe that was the June 13th edition, now reviewed in the books. This, of course, episode, if you did not catch it live, is now, well, wherever you're listening to it, live or not live, that is, on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We have a couple hundred episodes for you to catch up on with Snug Wrestling. If you miss us here, though, for the weekly shows, we do go live after Raw on Mondays for post-show reviews. On Wednesday, a day later for NXT reviews. We go live on TikTok for 1 hour on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and 8 o'clock Central for 1 hour for random or relevant wrestling topics. And then we have now officially moved the Friday Night SmackDown reviews to Sunday night, specifically at the same time as TikTok, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Central, here on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. And if you ever do miss those, you can always head over to our Apple and Spotify at Snug Wrestling to catch up on those episodes. And of course, guys, remember to support your podcast, your favorite wrestling podcast, Snug Wrestling. We are a ranked wrestling podcast over at tpublic.com. That is TEE public.com/Snug Wrestling. Pick up your favorite wrestling merch on over there. We've got some great designs, about nearly 100 for you to choose from on tons of different apparel, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, you name it. Until next time, though, guys, remember to stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. But before we get out of here, boys, I said that was one time for the one time. I said that was
Four
letters.
One
One word.
Yeet.